Hello, YouTube fans. This is Dr. Matthew Johnson. I'm here with Andrea Billups. We just spent 4 days and 3 nights up at SOHA, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you and say anything about herself she'd like you to know, and then we'll proceed with our testimonial interview. Go ahead, Andrea.
Hi, I am Andrea Billups, and I am an admin for Team Squatchin' USA and a friend of Dr. Johnson and Cynthia. And this is my first visit to SOHA here in Oregon. Trying to say that
Good
right.
job. Yes. Awesome.
Anyways, and it was a very eventful 3 nights and 4 days up there. I must say that this trip wildly exceeded my expectations, and I'll be thinking about this and processing what went on up there for a really long time. The first night I went up there, it looks about like what you would see in the videos that Dr. J has been posting. You realize how up, and away and far away that you are. You're on top of a mountain, and it is amazing. The view, just the vista, it's a very perfect place. And I think one thing that struck me from the very beginning is just how special this place is. The energy of it is different, and it's majestic and small and pure. And I'm sort of an empathic person, and I tend to sort of feel things deeply. And I got there and immediately sort of felt a peaceful kind of vibe going on, and also it wasn't immediately frightening, or I didn't immediately feel any anxiety. It was peaceful. And so we unpacked and set up camp and waited till the evening. And the first night there, we went through all of the research protocols that Dr. J has in place, and we put out the gifting bowls and let it get nice and dark, and proceeded to begin to sit there and listen to the forest. I wasn't sure what to expect the first night, but I was struck by the fact that there are creatures assembling there in the forest in the gentlest of ways. Like, there was not a lot of wild crashing. Occasionally I would hear a two-step, like a real distinct bipedal two-step, but that it wasn't like that was happening over and over again. Yet you were just instinctively aware that a group of beings was assembling around you. And as it got darker, you could see movement in these shadows. All sort of ringing around you. And that was both daunting and also just super exhilarating. It's almost just like they knew that we were there and they were going to come out for the show. And so I wasn't initially afraid, more just sitting there and taking in what I felt. And you definitely feel their presence, and it's not aggressive. It's kind of sweet. I can't even say more about how gentle I felt at that point. Nothing aggressive was going on, but you knew. I saw this energy that was there with the shadows constantly moving. You knew that a group of creatures or beings or forest people were assembling there. So we played music. Dr. J played a couple of sets of music, and they go on for maybe 30 minutes at a time. And you could definitely feel that those forest people who were watching were way into it. They were almost transfixed. It's like they were there for a concert. And I saw eye glow that was rather down low, and I saw some eye glow that was up high. This is white eye glow. I didn't see red or any other color, just a white eye glow that would appear and sort of disappear in the forest. And I wondered if this were forest people maybe turning their heads or moving their heads to this music. So that was unusual. And Dr. J, I walked around with him and we sang, and it was a good experience. I felt like that they were enjoying it and that they were sort of there to learn from us and that we were there to sort of try to appreciate them. I mean, these are not wild crashing creatures that are there. You definitely feel that these are sort of sentient beings. I think that's just notable for me. There's no doubt that they were there. And so that went on for a while, and finally, I think after midnight, before we decided to go to bed, we walked around a little bit more. And then probably the most unusual thing that happened that evening was that suddenly the perimeter there was filled with this fragrance. And it was like the most beautiful, deep, sweet scent that you've ever smelled. Like a fine perfume, an Hermes fragrance. I mean, it was not even like cologne, but like it had the depth of perfume. And it was beautiful. I mean, I just kept smelling it. And at first I thought, am I really smelling this? And then Dr. J, I said, did you smell that? And he said, yes. And he said that he and Cynthia had experienced that at another visit as well.
We did in February, yes.
And so that was so startling and surprising. I mean, you're on the top of a mountain on a ridge in the middle of the night, and you're being blasted by this fragrance. I mean, it was amazing. And you would have to spritz yourself 20 times with some really nice perfume to get the depth and complexity of the scent. But it was intoxicating, and I wish that I could bottle it and let you smell what I smelled. But it was beautiful, and it also sort of made me feel a little more peaceful, like someone had sprayed me with goodness. Maybe that sounds too obtuse, but it was gorgeous.
It was
gorgeous. A smell that I've never smelled before, but stunning.
Now, you told me earlier you had never been to Hawaii, and I'm just letting you know that I've been there 17 times, and when they put the leis around your neck, the flower leis, and all that fragrance is right there, right in front of your face from these flowers dangling right around your neck, that's what it smelled like to me.
Well, it was just super strong. It was nothing faint. It was literally like somebody had sprayed a bunch of cologne or perfume, not even cologne, perfume, right there into camp.
Yes.
And it lingered. It was beautiful.
Yes.
And overnight we had just a little bit of something unusual. It started to rain overnight, and we were camped outdoors with no tent, and we had pulled a tarp over our cots and sleeping bags to protect us from the rain, and so you could hear the rain sort of hitting the tarps, but we were tired and we slept pretty well. But at one point in the middle of the night, I woke up and I felt like something had tapped the top of this tarp that I had pulled up almost over my head completely, and I was deep in a sleeping bag. I felt like somebody had tapped it 3 times, not just a raindrop, but somebody had tap, tap, tap.
And it wasn't me, I guarantee you.
No, it wasn't Matt, but the strangest thing is that, when we talked, when we woke up, Dr. J said, was it you who pulled that tarp above me last night? And I was like, no, I did not pull the tarp above you.
Yeah, it was at my waist, and there were 3 tugs. The first tug went up to my shoulders. Second tug went over my head. Third tug pulled the rest of it down to the ground to get me out of the rain. And I swear I thought that was you. It was weird.
It was strange.
Yes.
And so I don't know what happened, but it felt like something happened.
Yes.
Anyways, he played the music, and as was the first night, you definitely knew that there was an assembling of people around this perimeter. You could see the shadows moving just out of the light, and it was the same thing. It was completely gentle, no crashing, smashing, no noises, grunts, or anything. It was just very, very quiet. But again, you feel that you are surrounded by people there.
That sixth sense feeling.
It absolutely washes over you, that sixth sense that you are not alone there. And so, you
are being watched.
I definitely felt that I was being watched. I mean, even when I was sitting with my back to it, you're aware of that. And it's unusual, I think I went from stages sort of that fight or flight maybe a little bit, where I was at once processing that, yes, I was on top of a mountain alone in the middle of the darkness with Sasquatch all around me. And then the fact that they were just so peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't what I expected in that way. Very, very peaceful. So we played our music, and we had already put out our gifting bowls, and we went to bed, and I fell asleep pretty easily, even though I was a little scared. And about 4:15 a.m.
Wait, can I follow up on that little scared
Yes,
thing? Okay.
yes.
People don't know you well enough to know that this was your first time camping since age what?
Since I was about 11.
Since you were about 11 years old for like Girl Scouts or something?
Yeah,
Or?
I camped out for the Girl Scouts.
Yeah, yeah. So now you're out there camping.
I'm not the outdoorsy type,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Barbie don't do outdoors so
So
well.
yeah. So now your first time camping in about 40 years or so is
Wait,
up.
I'm a child bride, Matt. Continue. 40, please.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
So anyway, your first time camping is in the middle of the hotspot for squatching. It's not like you've gone to a state park or national park to go camping in Condo City, tent by tent. You're up there on the mountaintop surrounded by squatches. So I'm pointing this out to everybody to say, what a trooper. She did awesome. So there you go.
I think you go back and forth when you're in this situation, trying to intellectualize what's going on. The fact that Dr. J has been staying up there for 9 years and nothing that has happened to him. But the other revelation, I guess, is that the truth of the matter is, you're alone up there in the middle of the night, in the middle of darkness, and there is no fallback plan. That's it. And so that weighed heavily on me. I had to talk myself sort of down off the wire. I went from being peaceful to frightened out of my gourd.
Right. Oh my God.
But as I said, so speaking of frightened out of my gourd, woke up at 4:15 a.m. to a symphony of owls.
900-pound owls?
They weren't very good owl callers, I'll be honest. I live in a forest in my regular home, and we have owls in our forest. And if you've heard owls in the wild, at least my owls, they when they do hoo 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 hoo, at the end of the hoo, they trill. They have a sound that goes hoo, sort of. I mean, it's very soft. But these owls were, I don't know, kind of barking owls. And these calls that were going off in the forest were just bouncing off one another. They were resonating off the hills and through these trees. And I mean, talk about a wake-up call. I was shaken awake, and I reached over and shook Matt and said, "Are you hearing this? Are you hearing this?" And he was hearing this.
Yeah,
and we were just like stunned. I mean, this was not like one owl cooing to another owl. This was like 7 or 8, I mean, at least, bantering back and forth. Call, response,
Loud
wait.
volume.
I mean, yes, booming. I mean, it felt like they were right over top of us. And then my terror alert level went way up here. And I had to fight, not jumping out of my sleeping bag, but where would I go? Who would protect me? There's no place to go. And then the owl call sort of subsided. Maybe 2 minutes later, here comes that noise. For the last 4 years, I've been listening to all of your audio and video out there in Bigfoot world. And here they come, the whoops. And they are not what you think, but they went off like a siren. And they were so close to us that I wanted to just do a somersault in my sleeping bag like a dog and climb to the very bottom of the other end so no one could ever find me. I mean, they were loud and, they weren't aggressive sounding. They almost sound dog-like. But these creatures were calling out to one another, and they sounded like they were 20 or 30 feet away from us, just right behind the tree lines. And
pretty doggone close. Yep.
Then, of course, I had to say, that's Sasquatch. From all I've known and read, nothing else in the forest sounds like that. And it's not one Sasquatch, it's several, and they're talking to one another back and forth. And they're right beside me. And I did not sleep well for the rest of the night. I didn't come out of the sleeping bag, but Matt and I looked at each other, and I think it was sort of a mixture of, wow, that is so amazing and so cool. And oh gosh, you know, what I came to SOHA to determine is absolutely present. And it was. I have no doubt after that night, what is living and engaging up in that forest.
So that morning, we went and checked the gifting bowls.
We did.
And what did we find that time?
I think we found 2 sandwich halves or 4.
2 sandwich halves missing from each bowl.
Yes, from each bowl. That's right. Two peanut butter and jelly on wheat sandwich halves that were missing from each bowl. One with raspberry jam and one with strawberry jam. We mixed it up a little bit.
Right.
And that's it. You know, again,
Everything else left behind, right?
if there was some type of like raccoon savagery going on, it didn't happen in our gifting bowls. Literally, something picked up these halves and gently lifted them out of there like we would pull something out of a plate or off of a plate. And that was it. Nothing else that had been put in there, a muffin, and other items, candies, just were not taken.
We also found some fingerprints on the bowls that
We
morning.
did, yeah, we did. Both of these bowls had some pretty nice fingerprints on the interior. They were small fingerprints, so, you know, I don't know.
Much smaller than Matt's hand.
They're definitely smaller than Matt's hand. Probably
Yeah.
about the size of my hand. I have really small fingers.
Yeah.
So, but they were absolutely discernible, no doubt about it. We took them out and blew on the bowl, and there they were.
Okay, so go ahead.
They had ridges on them.
Had ridges on them. So just for the person that's viewing this, was I wearing surgical gloves when I cleaned the bowls and placed them out there
Yes.
and retrieved them?
Yes, all the time. He always wears a surgical glove. These are not our fingerprints. He carries them out there with the gloves on and places them. They are not our fingerprints, that's for sure.
Did I let you touch the bowls?
No, I did not touch them. The only thing I carried to the forest all 3 nights were a carton of eggs.
So even though the hands may have been small like yours, i.e. a toddler or a young child, they weren't your fingerprints?
Impossible, not mine. Didn't touch the bowls.
Awesome. Okay.
So, I survived the wild night 2.
Well, yep.
I'm still processing that right now. I'm gonna wake up, I'm sure, from a dream hearing these noises, which are, you have to hear this. I would say the experience of hearing this in person is stunning. So
I should have that on audio, by the way. So if you're watching this video, I want you to go to soundcloud.com, type in Team Squatchin' USA, and I have a plethora of audio recordings, and I'll have these loaded and up and running as soon as possible. And I think if we're lucky, then we're going to have all that recorded that you just talked about. Okay.
it will be interesting to hear.
Yep.
I would say on the 3rd night that I was aware, at least in 2 positions, of something really large standing outside of the perimeter and in the shadows, like large. And
Like how tall do you think would you estimate
I mean,
based on what you saw?
8 feet tall.
8 feet tall.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
taller than that.
Okay.
And that really kind of frightened me because I saw that silhouette.
A little taller than me, right?
Yes, it's bigger than Dr. J. That's another thing. Definitely bigger than him. You know, you're not ready for anything that's that size. I think in real life, you know, you could posit a basketball player, an NBA player standing beside you, but just that the enormity is awe-inspiring, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And so
Okay.
you know that you're in the presence of something very large that is standing. At least there were 2 at least I know that were standing there, and it really did work on me. I had to look down. So Dr. J is standing there playing his music, and we're standing together, and I would say we're like 6 feet away. And I had to look down because I was like, I know what I know, and I know that something is standing there right beside there looking at me, and that's just very strange. It's scary, but again, it's like breathtaking, just to know that there is a living, sentient, and I do mean sentient being there, watching. And you know, if these were violent creatures, they could have in 2 steps snatched me up and eaten me like a corn on the cob. I mean, yeah, I mean, and believe me, that thought crossed my mind. I mean, I could be up and away and gone very quickly. But that didn't happen. I mean, there was no aggressive movement, no hands rising. You were deeply aware that it was just almost like a mutual stare down, I guess.
Gentle giants, right?
Absolutely, they
Yeah.
were absolutely gentle,
Mm-hmm.
but giant. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
giant.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that there was eye glow that was down low, and I don't know if these were maybe juveniles who were there watching us.
Yeah. And
But
toddlers, they have young ones
you
too. Yeah.
knew that there were several beings there around that
Mm-hmm.
forest. It's kind of leafy there, and maybe 3 or 4 feet back there's great cover, but you knew there are those shadows there, and yeah, it's both scary and amazing.
So I just wanted to point out, while you were with me and we were doing that music thing on the perimeter at the 11 o'clock position, I heard a Matt, and I immediately turned and said, "I heard that. What's your name?" And then it went Matt. Kind of chuckled.
Yeah,
That was interesting.
it was interesting. I was definitely aware of almost this whisper that
Mm-hmm.
came out, and I would say, you know, that in itself is a little bit shocking to hear a voice that's there. And I actually heard talking far and away, not just up close during this incident where it talked to Matt, but I could hear what sounded like voices over the ridge at different points of the evening. I could not discern it, but it sounded like conversation, like muffled conversation. And if you could have any appreciation about where we were and how remote this was, you would have to wonder. There's not a snowball's chance that somebody else is up there on this ridge
Messing with us.
No. If you could only see how difficult it is to even get there, I mean, there's not a chance that somebody else was up there walking around on this hillside. That's just not even feasible. I'll just say that. Having seen this area, I don't believe for a second that we're being hoaxed by anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Something was talking, and you could hear it far and away. You just could barely faintly hear this. I don't think it was squirrels with thumbs.
Or deer with fingers leaving prints on the holes.
I don't think it was any of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay, so now that whole woo woo portal thing, okay?
yeah.
Well, we had night 1, night 2, night 3. Run us through that.
So in night 1 and night 2, we took a walk through the forest, the pitch black forest, and went down to where the portal area is located. And in the daylight, this area is not unremarkable. There is nothing about it that would make you look twice at it. I mean, it's at a dip in a road, in a ridge, sort of, but there's nothing there that would make you say, "Oh, that's weird." So we went there the first 2 nights and stood there and saw nothing.
Felt nothing?
We felt nothing. It's like we were just standing there in the dark, and not a darn thing happened.
Right.
So.
Okay, so night 1, night 2, nothing happened.
Nothing
Saw
happened.
nothing, felt nothing.
No.
Okay, night 3.
So night 3, I initiated us walking down there. I said, "Let's go check
Time
it
out.
out."
We have to hit that rewind button. What did we do earlier that day that we didn't do the other 2 days?
We took a day trip to the Oregon House of Mystery, and this is the Oregon vortex. And you can read up on what a vortex is, but it's a place of strange energy, a place where animals don't want to be. It's been there for back into the gold rush days, and it's now a tourist attraction. But we went there and took a little tour and hung out and got all magnetized, I guess.
Got our pixie dust, our juju.
We did, yes.
Yes.
This is a place where you could stand sideways, kind of, except you're standing straight up. It's very, if you've never been there, you should take a little side trip. So,
Okay.
So coming back, this was on the 3rd day, and
Third night. Yeah.
And so on the 3rd night, we decided we would approach the vortex area again, and so we did. And I would just say this. The energy there felt different, and I said to Matt that this feels electrical to me, like there's the faintest electrical impulse that's there. I don't know how else to describe it. We saw sort of a filmy, kind of very faint light kind of wafting there. That's in the darkness. That's the best description that I can give you. It was not overt. It's not like the ground parted and opened up that evening. Nothing happened there. We just both saw this sort of filmy light.
Did we notice anything like that on the first or second night?
No, there's nothing at all like that. We noticed nothing.
And we were only there for a few minutes before we retreated from that area, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we weren't there very long.
We didn't stay there very long, and
right. Okay.
we came back into base camp and started to hang out. And one thing that I did notice after that is I would keep looking down to this portal area, and I would see little flashes of like white light. I don't just think about a tiny little flash bulb popping. That's what it looked like down there. Maybe at about 4 or 5 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the ground. It was like as near as I could see from my perspective. It was kind of off the ground, but just little white lights that would occasionally pop there. And it kind of goes back to my whole like electrical. It felt electrical when I was standing around there on the third night. But that's all that I saw of the portal.
Did you see anything like that on the first or second night?
Nothing.
Okay. So for you watching the video, again, if you're not familiar with the research and not familiar with what this portal stuff's going on, and a year ago in June, Adam Davies and John Carlson went there to SOHA with me. They were there for 5 days, 4 nights. And on our third day there, we went to the Oregon Vortex House of Mystery, and then they accidentally opened up the portal there that night. I had no idea there was a portal there. I had no idea that the vortex was the connection for unlocking the portal. It took me a year to figure that out. And since figuring that out, we reopened the portal in June of this year, July of this year, September of this year. And then Andrea and I were experiencing something again when we went. Didn't stay there long enough to be able to see much, but there was a noticeable difference between those first 2 nights and that third night after we went to the House of Mystery, right? So, okay. Okay, so now some silly questions as we wrap things up for purposes of clarification. Did we consume alcohol while we were in SOHA?
Not a drop of alcohol. No, we didn't violate that policy.
Did we use any narcotics while we were in SOHA?
No, we did not. Didn't even use hair color.
Did Dr. Johnson demonstrate any signs of psychosis while in SOHA?
No, he did not. Dr. Johnson spent a lot of time acting as counselor to my fears, but no psychosis. This is all very real.
Okay. Did I hypnotize you while you were in SOHA?
No, you did not.
Did I hoax you in any way while you were in SOHA?
You did not hoax me, and it would be impossible for you to hoax me up there given the landscape.
Okay. And last but not least, how does the Kool-Aid taste?
Well, it's delicious. And
You're loving that SOHA Kool-Aid?
You know, I am. And I think that this only deepens my interest and desire to learn and find out more. You know, I'm more curious than ever about this. And, you know, it will keep me devoted for a really long time, that's for sure. I'm glad I did this.
Good. Coming back to SOHA?
I hope to.
Awesome. Good deal. Thank you, Miss Andrea Billups. You did an awesome job for your first time camping in so long and in a hot spot where the forest people were. And loved having you along. Loved getting to know you better. I value our friendship, and I'm looking forward to having you return. Cynthia and I value our friendship with you. And thanks for being a wonderful admin, by the way, for the TSUSA Facebook group. I appreciate that too.
Well, next time I'm going to bring a pink sleeping bag.
Pink sleeping bag. Okay. We're signing off. Thank you. Bye-bye.